Ever had someone freeze mid-sentence, stare at you, and blurt out, "Wait, you're how old?" Maybe they pegged you a decade younger, their jaw dropping like they'd seen a magic trick. I'm Dr. Emily Carter, a psychologist who spent 15 years chasing the why behind that look of disbelief. Today, we're stepping into Rachel Thompson's life, a 45-year-old florist from Asheville, North Carolina, whose warm smile and bright eyes have strangers guessing she's still in her early 30s. I've known Rachel since our college days at UNC, when her laugh could light up a lecture hall, and I used to figure her youthful vibe was just good luck. Perfect skin, maybe a knack for sunscreen. But sitting across from her now, I see it's not that simple. Looking young isn't just a fluke of the mirror, it's a story etched in your mind, your spirit, the way you walk through life's mess. For the next hour and a half, I'll take you along Rachel's winding road. 7 secrets she's lived without even knowing it, pieced together over late-night chamomile tea in her flower shop, steam curling between us as we talk. It's not a checklist, it's her journey, stitched from hard falls and quiet blooms, grounded in science and glowing with her steady heart. If you've ever caught that you look too young, double take, or wish you had, this is for you. Hit like, subscribe. Let's keep unraveling what makes us tick. We're starting at Rachel's doorstep in Asheville. Come on in, let's see where her story takes us. It's a sticky June afternoon when I push open the door to Blossom and Vine, Rachel's flower shop on a cobblestone street in Asheville. Ivy twists up the brick walls, marigolds tumble from barrels out front, and the mountain breeze carries a mix of pine and petals through the screen. The bell jingles overhead as I step inside, and there she is, Rachel Thompson, 45, behind the counter, chestnut curls pulled back with a faded scrunchie, her apron streaked with dirt. She's trimming lilies with a soft hum, some Stevie Nicks tune drifting from her lips, while her 12-year-old daughter Sophie lounges on a stool nearby, sketching soccer plays in a spiral notebook, her sneakers tapping the hardwood floor. I have known Rachel since we were 20, back when she'd argue Freud with me over lukewarm dorm coffee, her hazel eyes flashing with mischief. Now, a tourist in a sun hat browsing roses pipes up. "You're what, 32? Rachel chuckles, brushing her hands on her jeans. "Try 45. I slide onto a stool across from her, grinning. "Same old line, huh? What's your trick?" She pours chamomile tea from a chipped pot into mismatched mugs, shrugging. "No trick, Emily. Just me." But I'm not letting that slide, not this time. Rachel's no stranger to rough waters. I've seen her weather storms that would have crushed most. Her dad's stroke 10 years back, a divorce that left her scrambling, a shop nearly swept away by a rent hike last spring. Yet here she is, her skin smooth as ever, those hazel eyes dancing with life, her hands moving with a quiet grace as she slides the tea my way. Over these tea-soaked nights, with the shop's fan whirring and crickets chirping outside, her stories started to unravel, a tapestry of grit and glow that begins with how she stands tall when life swings hard. "Remember Dad's stroke?" she says, her voice dropping low so Sophie doesn't catch it, her fingers steady on the lilies despite a faint tremor I notice. 10 years ago, hospital bills drowned us. Sophie was 5, toddling around asking why Grandpa couldn't play catch anymore. I'd sob in the shower till the water ran cold, then dry off, braid her pigtails, unlock this place. She smiles faintly, snipping a stem. Had to keep going. Life didn't stop there. Her ex, Brian, walked out when Sophie was 7, leaving her with a half-empty house on Maple Street and a stack of debt she couldn't climb out from under. Then last spring, a pipe burst in the stockroom. Hundreds of dollars in roses turned to mush overnight, water pooling around her boots as she stood there, stunned. I'd have buckled. Rachel didn't. Stress carves you up, I say, sipping the tea, its warmth cutting through the humidity. Science backs it. Cortisol, the stress hormone, etches wrinkles, dulls your skin, tires your bones. She nods, tying a ribbon around the vase. I've seen it. My cousin Linda, 42, frets every layoff at the mill. Gray streaked her hair early, her shoulders slumped, like she's carrying the world. Rachel's different. Can't fix it, I let it roll, she says, her voice steady as she sets the lilies by the window. Her face doesn't carry those years, vibrant, alive, a glow that's earned, not borrowed. She's fought, fallen, risen. Her spirit's a shield, bending but never breaking. You ever crack? I ask, leaning in. She chuckles, a soft ripple. Sure I do, but I don't stay down. That's where her youth starts. An unbreakable spirit, keeping time's claws from digging too deep. The shop door swings open, interrupting us. Sophie's best friend Mia dashes in, all gap-toothed grins and muddy cleats, babbling about a goal she scored. Rachel pours an extra mug of tea. Kids keep me moving, she says, handing it to Mia's mom, Kelly, who trails in behind. I watch her ease into the chatter, her laugh spilling out like sunlight, and I see the next thread weaving through her days. How she doesn't just survive life's turns, she steps right into them. Rachel pulls a photo from a drawer under the counter, her at 38, post-divorce, hair cropped short like she'd hacked it off herself, eyes tired but fierce under the flash. Hated that year, she admits, tracing the edges with a dirt-smudged finger. Brian took the car, half our savings. I was a mess, crashing on Mom's couch with Sophie's stuffed bunny under my arm. She could have folded, plenty do, curling into the wreckage. Instead, she leased this shop with a loan she barely qualified for, taught herself roses from YouTube tutorials while Sophie napped on a blanket in the corner. First bouquet was a disaster, she laughs, her eyes crinkling. Sophie called it a weed bomb, said it'd scare the customers. Now? She's got a TikTok following, short clips of her arranging peonies with Sophie giggling in the background captioned, "Why not try?" Change stiffens people, I say, the tea cooling in my mug. Resist it, and your mind locks up. Your body follows, shoulders slump, lines dig in. My brother Mark, 43, clings to his old tech job like it's a lifeline, looks 55, worn down by the same desk, same fights. Rachel flows, swapped coffee for herbal blends after a doctor flagged her jitters, learned Sophie's soccer rules just to cheer louder at games. Too old? Nope, she grins, potting a fern Kelly begged her to save for Mia's room. Science nods. Adaptability keeps your neurons firing, your muscles loose, your years light. What's new scare you? I ask, watching her hands dance over the leaves. Not if I can grow, she says. Divorce broke me open, not down. Her youth's in that flow, life shifts, and she steps into it, steady as the breeze outside. Sophie bounds over. Mom, show Emily your orchid book. Rachel smirks, reaching for a shelf behind her, and I catch the spark in her eye. Curiosity, the next piece that keeps her humming through these long days. The sun's dipping low now, casting gold across the shop. Rachel's glasses slip down her nose as she flips through Orchid Care 101, a dog-eared thrift store find she snagged last week. Sophie laughed. Another hobby, Mom? She says, her voice bright as she adjusts the frames. Found it for $1. Did you know they can bloom for years if you get the light just right? She's always digging. New flowers to coax from the soil. Bread recipes off Pinterest she tweaks with Sophie on rainy Sundays. Even algebra tricks to help with homework after Sophie bombed a quiz. Keeps me sharp, she grins, misting a pot by the window, the spray catching the light like a tiny rainbow. Curiosity's youth fuel, I say, swirling the tea in my mug. Keeps your brain buzzing. Studies show it slows decline, fights the fade. My neighbor Tom, 50, repeats the same fishing tales every cookout, his eyes dim, shoulders sagging like he's run out of questions. Rachel's spark is different. Why do petals curl? She muses, sketching a bloom on a napkin between orders. She learns, asks, explores. Her energy's alive, crackling. Still wonder? I ask, watching her scribble. Every damn day, she says. World's too big to stop. Her glow's no accident. Dull routines kill youth. Her questions keep it burning. A fire that flickers in those hazel eyes. Mia's mom, Kelly, leans in. Rachel, that fern's gorgeous. Rachel beams, handing it over with a laugh that spills out free and easy, and I see the next thread slip into place, how she lets it all pour out, no holding back. Kelly cancels a big order, some bridal showers off, and Rachel sighs, then chuckles. Guess Sophie gets a flower crown tonight. Later, as the shop quiets, she's staring at a photo on the counter, her dad tossing Sophie in the air, a Polaroid from before the stroke. His birthday's tomorrow, she whispers, eyes glistening, her voice catching. No mask. She cries when it stings, laughs when it lifts. Bottling's poison, she says, wiping a tear with her sleeve. Learned that with Brian, swallowing every fight till I choked. Suppression ages you, I say, the tea gone cold now. Cortisol spikes, lines dig in, your face carries what you bury. My friend Sarah, 39, stuffs her hurt down, her face hardens, voice flat, like she's reciting lines. Rachel releases, feel it or it festers, she says, braiding Sophie's hair absent-mindedly as the tears dry. Studies back her, expression cuts stress, lifts your health. Her softness stays, no tension carving her up. You hold back? I ask, watching her fingers twist the strands. Not worth the wait, she shrugs. Light's better. Her youth's in that freedom, emotions flow, and time doesn't grip her tight. Sophie bounds back. Mom! Grandma's here! Linda, Rachel's mom, steps through the door, arms open for a hug, her silver hair catching the last of the daylight. The shop buzzes with their voices, Rachel's light in the crowd, and I see the next secret shining through, how she surrounds herself with the right kind of warmth. Linda chats with Kelly about a church potluck, Sophie's giggling with Mia over some TikTok dance. Rachel sweeps petals into a bin. Bad vibes? I'm out, she says, brushing her hands. Brian's rants after the divorce, a supplier who griped over every late delivery. She cut them loose. Life's too short, she adds, arranging tulips for Linda's kitchen table, her movements calm. Her shop's a haven. Neighbors linger with stories. Kids chase each other past the barrels out front. Negativity ages, I say, the mug cool against my palm. Stress tightens you up, drains you. Science says it shortens your cell's life. My coworker, Mike, 44, grumbles through every shift, frown lines carved deep, his eyes tired. Rachel picks joy. Linda's bad jokes. Sophie's teammates piling in after practice with muddy hugs. Positive vibes slow the clock, I add. Studies link it to longer life, brighter skin. Who lifts you? I ask, watching her grin at Linda's laugh. This crew, she beams. They're my gold. Her glow's deliberate, energy she guards like the flowers she tends. The sun's gone now, streetlights flickering on. Rachel's tying Linda's bouquet, humming that Stevie Nicks tune again. This, she says, holding up the roses, this is me. That passion, it's her heartbeat, the next thread weaving her youth through these walls. She weaves the roses, deft and sure. Lost the house, kept this, she says, her voice steady as she twists the stems. Divorce stripped her bare. Brian got the deed to their Maple Street split level. She got Sophie and a dream, stitched from scraps. Rebuilt here, she smiles, hands tracing the petals. Every stem's a story, every order's a win. Purpose pumps dopamine through her. Her energy crackles, alive in the quiet shop. No drive and life fades, I say, watching her work. My Aunt Joan, 49, drifts through days, looks 65, no spark. Rachel wakes eager. Sophie's game's this place. It's my fire, she says, her eyes glinting. Studies say passion cuts stress, boosts youth. Her vitality's proof, a pulse in her steady hands. What fires you? I ask, the air thick with rose scent. This, she says, and her, nodding toward Sophie, who's yawning over her sketches. Her youth's alive. Find your flame. Let it burn bright. The shop's dark now. Rachel locks the front door, Sophie trudging upstairs to their apartment above. Brian got the past, she says, the key turning with a soft click, her breath fogging in the cool night air. That's her final piece, letting go, light as the mountain breeze rustling the ivy outside. Lanterns glow along the cobblestone. Rachel leans on the doorframe, staring at the stars peeking through the Asheville sky. Divorce chewed me up, she admits, her voice soft against the night. 5 years bitter. I'd replay every fight, every promise he broke, till it was all I saw. She pauses, tucking a curl behind her ear. Then I stopped. Chose me. Clinging ages you. Cortisol climbs. Regret etches lines where peace could have been. He kept calling, she says. Drunk voicemails at 2 a.m. I quit answering. Mindfulness heals. Her face lifts, free of that weight. Old pain, I ask, the tea long cold on the counter inside. Gone, she says. Presence enough. My sister Kate, 47, relives her grudges, looks worn, her eyes distant. Rachel's light. Drop it, she urges, hugging Sophie goodnight as the girl shuffles off. Science nods. Forgiveness lifts years, eases your cells. Her glow's unburdened, a quiet radiance. You carry anything? I ask, watching her silhouette against the lantern light. Not anymore, she smiles. Let it go, or it drags you down. The shop's still now. Rachel flips the sign to closed, her shadow stretching across the floor. Sophie's footsteps fade upstairs, and she turns to me, that grin soft but sure. Young's my heart, Emily, she says, locking eyes over the empty mugs. 7 threads weave her timeless, grit that bends, but holds, a flow that meets every turn, wonder that keeps her asking, freedom to feel it all, joy she guards close, a fire that never dims, and a past she's set free. Science backs every stitch. Cortisol fades with resilience, neurons spark with curiosity, dopamine flows with purpose, but her life sings it louder. She's proof you've got that spark too, buried maybe, waiting to bloom. Feed it. Let it shine. I step out into the night, the mountain air cool on my skin. Rachel waves from the door, Sophie's light flicking off above. Like this if it hit you, subscribe. We've got more stories to unravel. Drop your own younger moment in the comments. When did someone guess you wrong? I'm Emily Carter. Here's to hearts that defy the clock.